The boroughs are New York City. The burbs are everywhere else. Real estate is the ultimate game of risk and reward. It's the biggest investment most people ever make. Fortunes are made over a lifetime and lost in a day. And we're not playing with monopoly money. How do you stay ahead? Who's buying? Who's selling? And why? What do they know? We want the truth. You need an edge. Boroughs and Burbs is your secret weapon, giving you the insider knowledge and strategies you need to succeed in the high-stakes world of real estate. From Palm Beach to Palm Springs, Manhattan to Malibu, we press the experts to expose the pain, find the deals, and occasionally predict the future. That's Boroughs and Burbs, Thursdays, 3 o'clock Eastern, noon Pacific. Because everyone can make money in real estate.
Welcome, everybody. Boroughs and Burbs, episode 172. Where are the Canadians moving? We're going to throw you a curveball today. We're not going to Canada. We're actually going to go to the top agent in South Florida, and we're going to ask her, because that's where the Canadians are going, and we're going to ask her why, and how does she find them, how does she meet them, how does she develop the relationships with them. But first, a little bit of housekeeping. Boom, boroughsandburbs.com. You're going to see last week we did 171 Airbnb investing, and previously is Panama really for sale. I want to thank our sponsor, Sana Designed River Building at Grace Farms. You can check it out, gracefarms.org. And their initiative, the Design for Freedom initiative. Let's design a more humane future. I'm John Engel at theengelteam.com. And that's my co-host, Roberto. That's it. And you'll find him at robertocabrera.com. Say hello, Roberto. I can't hear you. No, no microphone. Uh-oh.
Can you hear me now?
Yes. Roberto, where are you? Where are you calling in from?
I'm on the Upper West Side of Manhattan, my friend, where the world happens. I mean, I don't know. I'm ready to go.
Center of the known universe.
So to speak.
And I want to introduce you to Katia Reisler, my friend in South Florida. We met at one of these conferences, and I find that she does Miami, she does Boca, she does Palm Beach, she does all of South Florida. And I said, how do you get so much business? How do you find the buyers? And she says, I actually leave South Florida and I fly to the buyers and I connect with them. And I said, like where? And she said, Toronto, Montreal. So I got the idea because today, you know, I mean, in the news lately, we're all talking about our relationship with Canada, and there's a renewed interest in the Canadians and our relationship with the Canadians. And so I thought this is a perfect time to talk to an expert on the Canadian migration. And with that said, hello, Katia. Great to see you again.
How are you? Thank you so much for having me here. My name is Katia Reisler. Yes, I am a realtor in South Florida. I am Canadian. So there is, I guess, the little hook to the whole thing. Since I was, probably 8 years old, my family started going to Canada. I was born in Peru, and my entire family relocated to Canada. Then I relocated full time to Canada, and that's when I met my husband, that also happens to be Canadian. He was born in Montreal, and I guess I was raised a part of my life in Toronto. About 12 years ago, we decided to move to Florida full time. We had been coming to Florida, to Palm Beach, to the island, for about, 3 years. And then our family decided to buy a place in Bal Harbor. So that's how I have the connection to Palm Beach and to Bal Harbor. But when I decided to relocate, I moved to Boca. Now, Boca is my hub. We see Canadians all the time, and I will go through the process of the questions and giving you answers, but lots of Canadians relocating here. I work also in new development, and that's where I travel. So I go to Canada, I go to Toronto, I do presentations. I have a very, very strong connection with realtors in Canada. And I happen to be an ambassador, a Canadian ambassador for a lot of the new developments. Some of them in Bay Harbor and Bal Harbor, So we have Paragon, Rivache, La Marais, The Well, and 9900. Those, I am the ambassador, the Canadian ambassador. And if you go to Palm Beach, I am the ambassador for Mr. C. Different projects, different locations. And as we go through the questions, you know, different Canadians go to different areas. So we can go along the way. That is Mr. C, beautiful project. And I'm sure we can talk one day about more of that. Located just in West Palm, and there's a lot of incredible changes in that area. I was actually at an event this morning in Palm Beach. There is parks, there is a lot of projects going there. We also have a lot of people relocating, not only from Canada, but that is incredible. Now we have Paragon in there. That is near the Bal Harbor shop, 733 units. Beautiful, beautiful location. And you are, you know, again, another elite property. Canadians tend to go to Bal Harbor, Aventura, and Sunny Isles. They just, that's where their friends are. That's where they want to go. We have other groups that go to Fort Lauderdale specifically, or if they're relocating with families, they're looking more at Boca Raton. So that's where we came for the schools and a lot of different things.
Katia, so these people, you're talking about people who are actually fully relocating, or are you talking about people who are adding a property to what they already have as a second home?
Combination. We are seeing Canadians relocating, getting visas, getting different opportunities. We have the working visas. We have the EB-5 visas that give you a full green card. We have different levels.
Can you talk to us about the EB-5? Just
I mean, I have a lot of people that work with me in the EB-5. I have managed to relocate people from not Canadians with EB-5, but people from London. So projects that are attached to them. So your client will be investing for a temporary time. So it's about 5 years where they put right now, I believe the number is at $1 million. It was a $500,000 before. That gets your entire family under the age of 21. At the end of the 5 years, your family has a green card. You own the asset that you also purchase, and you can sell it, you can keep it, or you can rent it. So we have people that tend to rent them. I just rented one at the Paramount Miami, where my client actually got her EB-5 visa. And she is now living in she's living in New York. So she just came for the visa with that project. So, and we have people with different, you know, you have businesses that you can buy as well. So you buy a business, you relocate your family, you relocate people within, and you have to show that you have a business here and an office. So there's multiple visas, and we can have a whole thing on that because I work with attorneys on that.
so Canada has had a little bit of a contraction of its population, just because a lot of people have been leaving, but I think the leaving has been a natural emigrating out of the country. And the reason why it's contracting is because the country's actually really restricting a lot of immigration into the country.
And not replacing it. Yeah.
Right. And not because they, you know, apparently they want their social services and everything to kind of catch up to the population so that they can actually service everyone in a solid manner, which is admirable and is really, really good. But so a lot of people are coming to the United States, but one thing that I'm just curious about is that the dollar to the Canadian dollar is very skewed. I mean, in 2007, I think the Canadian dollar actually was worth more than the dollar for a couple of months. And now it's like 142 or something. So
Correct.
all of the Canadians who are coming, and if they're buying, that is a big, big trade. It's an expensive proposition. Have you seen the flow slow down because of that or not?
Depending on the level. We have a lot of very wealthy Canadians that are still buying, renting, relocating. We still see that at a different higher price point. I have Canadians that have rented Sunny Isles. Right now we have them at $30,000 a month. I do see a difference in the sense that before they were buying more. That's when the properties were at a lower price point. We are seeing a lot of them renting, Instead of renting for 6 months, they're renting for a shorter time. But we are still seeing Canadians purchasing. And what I do as well is they own the properties. I have one in Broken Sound that actually you have it in the list, John. So that is a beautiful $30,000 rental owned by a Canadian client. We rent it in the off-season time. So they occupied in the winter. We rented in the summer months. We started from April until November, on beautiful properties. And I'm also in the sports and entertainment division. We have had football players in those homes because they stop playing and they come and they stay. We're seeing a combination of things, a lot of investments still from Canadians.
It occurs to me that, Roberto, to your point, it's also a hedge. If you're Canadian and you don't want to be subject to a decreasing Canadian dollar, you might make some investment, long-term investment in Florida real estate, in order to make sure that you're not only exposed to Canadian real estate and the Canadian economy.
No question, but the barrier to entry becomes more extreme.
Increasingly difficult. Yeah. But a lot of these people got in a long time ago, right?
Correct.
Katya, your customers have been coming here for 10, 15 years.
Correct. And I guess I have been coming to Florida for about 30, 35 years. And, people that purchase in Palm Beach, we're talking about the island. Yes, not the newer builds that we're seeing right now, but it's still, you were able to get there under $500,000. They purchased Bal Harbor under $500,000. Now those units, even the ones that are like, rock bottom, that they need to be completely renovated in older buildings, you're looking still at about $2 million. So Bal Harbor right now, we have Rivage, that it's an incredible project. It starts at $8 million. It goes to $65 million. We have Canadians that have purchased, but it's not everybody anymore. But there is a lot of Canadians that own right now. And they come and they all come together. So
that was my next question. Do they flock together?
Do
Canadians want to be near Canadians? And exactly. I'm not just talking 100%. About not just tonight for the hockey game, but like generally speaking, Canadians like to hang with Canadians.
It is true. That is absolutely right now. I was working yesterday with a client, is looking at in Sunny Isles at the Thornberry building, and I'm telling you, 4 of them are looking at the same time. So they want to be together.
Do they ask, are there how many Canadians in this building? How many Canadians in this neighborhood?
So it depends. I mean, I sold something at Armani last year, and literally my client actually asked me for where Canadians were not there. So it depends. Yes, it does happen. A lot of people do want to be together, and they want their friends to be around.
That's a thing in Boca. People travel to Europe and things like that. They're like, I traveled all the way here to St. Moritz, and I'm around my 5 neighbors are all here. So some people do want to segregate off because they want it to be a departure.
But even if you go to Boca Raton, we have all the country clubs in here. And St. Andrews Country Club, I mean, the prices of the memberships right now are going to $425,000, just the membership. We have a lot of Canadians in there. We have Broken Sound, a smaller group. Polo Club has a lot of Canadians. And those are your main, points of, where all the Canadians are. But we have also Palm Beach. So it's different areas in Toronto will take you to different areas in Florida. I was also in Naples 2 weeks ago for Cars on Fifth, which is an event that happens every year. We have Canadians going to Naples as well.
So Toronto's an East Coast, essentially East Coast, and these people, for the most part, they're kind of staying in the East Coast. But I do, Canadians also go to California and Texas and Arizona and places like that. When you encounter some of these people, are any of them conflicted? Like maybe we should go to Texas, or maybe we should go to, or they're pretty much going to Florida?
They're conflicted. But again, their friends play a huge influence in that. We do have very strong schools. So we have Nova University right now that is, like a lot of the kids from Canada go there. They're starting to be, like ophthalmologists, doctors, and I have clients of mine where I have positioned their children in properties around the university. So the schooling is still part of it. So kids are coming, and again, if a family is relocating, Boca, they're considering Boca. That's what we did. We didn't know. We were going to go to Bell Harbor, and we listened and we did our research, and we love Boca, and the schools are incredible. So we have more Canadians that are coming to Boca.
We did a show with Sally Daly in Vero Beach, and we talked to her about what's one of the big drivers. It's the airport, the fact that they closed the airport, they renovated it, they opened the airport. How many direct flights? How easy is it to get to? And she talks in Vero Beach about how easy it is to get to New York, and consequently, you get a lot of New Yorkers in Palm Beach. So talk to me about Toronto and Montreal in particular. It occurs to me that one of the main reasons that maybe a Canadian from those two towns would be picking the east coast of Florida is because there are direct flights, lots of them, and they're inexpensive. And that's a major reason why I'd be going to the east coast of Florida and not Arizona or California. Is that about accurate?
Yeah, no, we have definitely a lot of airports in here. The Fort Lauderdale airport is right in the middle, and that takes you more to the people that want to go to, obviously, the boaters that want to be in Fort Lauderdale. Miami airport is also very well used. Again, we're right in the middle. If you're looking at Bay Harbor, Bal Harbor, you're right in the middle. And then Palm Beach Airport, you have everything. Boca also have an international private airport. So we also have the private planes arriving here. And we have the same in Fort Lauderdale. So there's quite a bit of that. And definitely lots of flights from Montreal and Toronto, direct flights.
I would think that that's what's changing it. It's as it has for New Yorkers, that with more cheap flights, people are not going. It's no longer, Florida is no longer for retirees who go for 6 months. Now it's people who are able to dip in and out for the weekend. Are you finding the same thing is true for Canada, or it's just a little bit too far away for people to come down for a long weekend?
They're coming. They're coming, especially the ones that are renting. Like my client that is here, that is at Armani right now renting. I was with him yesterday. We preview properties. They come for 5 days. They come for 3 days, and then they go back home. So when they're renting, they're utilizing those places. They're no longer staying full time.
I'm flying down to West Palm Beach on Saturday morning and coming back Tuesday. So it's
There you
doable.
go.
In and out
Yeah.
of White Plains, which is 30 minutes from my house. Walk on the plane, super easy, JetBlue.
Yeah.
And what do you pay? What do you pay for a direct flight?
It was $200 when I booked it.
Even high season. Wow.
I have gone to Toronto and to Montreal for $300. So it depends on when you book it. And also, we have that Brightline now. So the Brightline takes us from Miami to Palm Beach. And literally, I go to Aventura. It takes me 23 minutes from the Boca Brightline. And then from there, I just go around and I do my showings and I come back.
What's the bright line? Sorry.
So it's a fast train. So it's basically, imagine first class train. There you go. And it's beautiful.
Roberto, we've been hearing about the Brightline every time we talk to Florida. Somebody mentions the Brightline, and it's Miami to Orlando right now. And I think that
it goes to
every
Miami.
time,
Yeah, it's everywhere.
and everybody's talking about whether it's going to be expanded to their town and what that impact would be. I mean, they keep expanding this bullet train, and I guess the traffic is sufficiently bad in South Florida that this Brightline's a big deal.
Yeah, it's incredible. Like, honestly, I can make it to Miami in 45 minutes with no traffic. I can be down in Miami. But if you get traffic, it can be 2.5 hours. So taking the Brightline is incredible.
And that would take how long on the bright line?
Depending on where you're going to. If I'm going to Miami, about 45 minutes from Boca. So if I go to Aventura, it's about, I want to say 23, 30 minutes. So it's pretty fast. So yeah, no, it's definitely something that a lot of people are using. And it's going to Orlando. So you can just hop in it and go to Orlando as well.
So can I go back to where the Canadians are going? So they're coming to the United States, where it seems like they're coming for weather. It's better weather, right? So
Yeah.
are they going to other places besides the United States? Like, for example, are they going to Mexico? Are they going to, I don't know where else. Tell me.
Because
So
New
well,
Yorkers, when we talk to New Yorkers, they talk about taxes, but we're not, you guys are not sensitive to the same tax considerations. It's all about the weather, isn't it?
it's all about the weather unless you're relocating full time. So we relocated here, and of course, the taxes are just non-existent compared to what we have. Relocating here full time, I mean, the health system, even though everybody thinks that the Canadian health system is beautiful, you get hurt, you get sick, you want to be in the United States. It's just night and day what we have. People, Canadians do tend to go to California as well. They are going to Texas. It's just different, where the kids went, where the universities are. So they're following families as well. But Florida has always been a place that everybody says, I want to go to Miami. They basically mean Bal Harbour, Sunny Isles. They all call it Miami. So we definitely see a lot of people going to those areas. And in the past, it was Hollywood, Allendale was also very sought after, and it still is, just different groups to different areas.
Are the majority buying condominiums, or are any of them buying single separate freestanding homes?
There is quite a bit in Boca that are buying single family homes in country clubs, looking for the lifestyle, looking for the golf. So golf is key for a lot of Canadians. They play golf in Montreal, they play golf in Toronto. We have very, very, a very large profile of Canadians that play golf in there, but they can only do it for a couple of times. They cannot do it all the time. John, if you scroll down, I can show you the property that I was mentioning that is owned by a Canadian, and keep going. It's a rental. It's right at the bottom, $30,000. Oh, next page, maybe. No, not in your chart. No worries.
Maybe we only have your listings, your for sales.
If you go into listings, you can see the rentals. It should be there. Bottom line, that's in Broken Sound. You have full golf capabilities. So, that's one of the things. When you rent, those are Canadians that are owning those properties. They just rent them for the off season. So that's one of the things. Those are just properties that are in Boca. Most of my listings in there that are on the market are in Boca. There you go, rentals. Let's find that one. Yeah, that one in the left.
So this is a Canadian owner.
This is a Canadian owner, and they spend the winters here, and then we rent it in the summertime. We have had as high as $50,000 per month in the summertime. So there is definitely that opportunity where Canadians tend to rent their properties.
And how big of a property is this? How many bedrooms, et cetera?
That one has 4 bedrooms, and it has a beautiful, beautiful courtyard. It's a single family home that was actually, funny enough, we mentioned the previous owner. It was owned by the lady that got her EB-5 visa with the Paramount Miami. So she designed this property, she owned this property, and then it was sold to to a Canadian client. So it just kind of went full circle.
How much did they pay for it?
I am going by memory here. I believe the original sale was around $1.2 million. Then 2 years after she put all the work into it, it was about $3 million. Right now we have it off market at about $5 million. And we have it on the market for a rental. It's inside Broken Sound, where they went through a lot of incredible renovations. So it is they have 2 golf courses, beautiful, beautiful property.
So if this family were to get a buyer somewhere in the $5 million range, they would sell it. Then what would they do? Would they buy another property, or they're going back to Canada?
They will not go back to it. They live in Canada. They come here only for the winters. They will buy another property, not a doubt in my mind. These are people that's what they want. They want to be here for the weather. and they come quite often. A lot of people just before, I mean, even myself, when my kids were little, we were used to stay here for 3-4 months at a time. And, as my kids started getting older, the teachers started to remind me, hey, by the way, your kids need to go to school. So we went back, but a lot of people come here and they stay for a long time. So they stay for 3 months, 4 months at a time.
So you were saying when you travel to Toronto and you do presentations, these presentations are, you're selling Florida, you're selling particular projects. What are you doing? Like what's the aim and what's the approach?
So again, I'm an ambassador for some new developments.
Mhm.
So my last trip to Canada was with The Well. So The Well is a beautiful project in Bay Harbor Island that it is just about wellness, about incredible a level of service. So literally you're in your, there you go. You're in your beautiful apartments where you actually can get a masseuse, you can get juices, you can get everything. So it's just a different level of wellness. I represent the developer. I travel with the sales team. We do presentations. We went and talked to the realtors specifically. So I had presentations with realtors, groups of realtors, different brokerages, but I also presented to my buyers. So the buyers that we thought that were, perfect buyers for this, again, proximity to Bell Harbor, where a lot of my Canadians want to be, we presented to about 11 buyers as well. So that was within 3 days, we probably presented the project to a good group of over 200, 300 people. So different groups, different presentations. So we target the presentations. I have done the same for Ribash. There was larger groups that went and presented, and I was one of them, and I talked about Ribash. But we have those specific projects. I'm planning on going as well with Viceroy, which is in Fort Lauderdale. So I will be traveling with the sales director down to Canada to do a presentation. So we just specifically target. I'm very well connected with the realtors in Canada. I've known them for many years. And I know architects and developers in Canada as well. So that kind of puts it all together.
And you go to Toronto,
think
Montreal primarily? Sorry, John.
Toronto primarily. I do go to Montreal, and I have realtors from Montreal that send me their clients as well. So we work on referrals quite a bit. One of the things that a lot of people miss is that, obviously you guys have the same. People just tend to click on Zillow and they try to go somewhere, but they don't have the guidance and they don't know where to go. And that's where we play an incredible role. People from Canada know me. They recommend me because they know that I know how to guide them through the process. I mean, if you look at my social media, I literally started a whole thing with follow me. And it started with follow me to Florida. So that was the whole thing about follow me. And you can actually see it in there. So it was follow me to Florida. And, at the end of the day, I do a lot with my clients. I do newsletters specifically talking about what is it that you expect in Florida. We have different everything. And people need to be guided properly. And that's what I do. I try to offer that whole concierge service. And as a result, I have Canadian realtors that they do referrals for the clients so we can move with them along. And the way that transactions work in here are very different than in Canada as well.
What's the difference?
In Canada, everything is handled by an attorney. Here we have title companies. They also have, like the inspection periods, that doesn't exist in Canada. You give a check and you're hard in 3 days. Here you have the option to get out within the 10-day, 15-day inspection period. And we are the ones preparing the contracts. In Canada, they're prepared by attorneys. So there is a big difference where people, it's like, what do you mean you are doing the contract? So you got to go through that process of explaining, the difference and solutions about it, But there's the follow me again. Yeah, no, there is quite a bit that Canadians are definitely here in Florida. They take a little bit longer to get familiar with what they're going to buy, but they're definitely renting. So there's a lot of rentals going on at a high price point.
I don't know if you've noticed, Roberto, but she's got 194,000 followers on Instagram, and you don't get 194,000 followers by merely winning a listing, putting it on the local MLS, crossing your fingers, and hoping for the best. Katya is in a whole different league than most of the realtors we encounter. I've already learned about a massive social media campaign, 194,000 followers, organizing outreach in a foreign country and putting on events specifically designed to pull investors, pull buyers into the room and expose them to properties in another city. So
Yeah.
it's it happens to be Canada and Florida, but I mean, we have so much to learn from you, Katya, about what it means to be a realtor in 2025 and actually roll up the sleeves and put out the content that draws customers in and exposes them to these properties. No wonder you won the Mr. C's and the Paragon and the Well, because I think that I think these new developments are not patient people, and they don't want to know that they're just being put up on the MLS and that you're sitting in the sales office. I mean, so I gotta commend you for a really impressive platform.
Yeah.
Thank you so much. And actually, social media does work. My last sale was with a pickleball player. That's as much as I can disclose. And he came out of social media. So that's, something that was indicated to me that they saw the property as well. So it's just beautiful.
Pickleball.
I'm going to ask you to divulge one of your secrets. I don't know how much you want to talk about it, but
Uh-oh.
Katya and I have been talking about geofencing. And I was like, oh, I've been looking at geofencing. Katya's like, yeah, we do that. And I'm like, well, what does that mean? You target Boca? And she's like, oh, no, I don't just target Boca. I target a square block in Boca or a square block in Toronto. I know how to go find my buyers. I know where they're eating, where they're shopping, and I am going to surround them with real estate messaging, and I'm going to basically make sure that they see my properties, and consider them. I mean, so I'm blown away. It's not just another pretty face on Instagram. It's a targeted, geographically targeted, demographic, psychographically targeted strategy to go
Yeah.
get those Canadians and bring them down.
Yeah, and there's a specific pockets, just like, in your areas, you have a specific pockets. I mean, there is postcards, there is emails, there is everything like ads that are targeted at a specific areas in these specific times. And with geofencing, we just aim around the events, around the different things. And it's a whole control, target that we have. And it works. I mean, it's just,
Look, let's get more specific. Boating, equestrian, weather, beaches, shopping. It occurs to me that you got to really know what amenities your target is looking for in order to present them with the right messaging. So, are you targeting, the equestrian community versus the boating community in Lauderdale? I mean, is that and as you mentioned already, the golfing community. Golfing's important. We're going to show them the golfing amenities.
So it's one of the things that I have to say I happen to be blessed with knowing a few different areas and a few different things. Like I mentioned, we did have a place in Palm Beach, so I am very familiar with the island and with all that area. When it comes to being in Boca, um, I also have sold equestrian properties. Many people don't even know that we have equestrian properties in Boca. It's not only in Wellington. I sold actually 5 or 6 equestrian properties, 5 acres each, in the middle of Boca Raton, near San Andreas Country Club. One of them was actually happened to be owned by Chris Everett, and we had the opportunity to sell her home. Beautiful property, 12,000 square feet. And it was bought by somebody from Chicago. It wasn't a Canadian person. But again, this is the equestrian community that we have right here in Boca Raton. So it's basically, yes, I do happen to have clients in different areas, and I do target the boaters around the boat show. We have a boat show coming up in Palm Beach. The geofencing is already working. The clients are already getting newsletters. There's different things that are happening right now to invite them to the events. And then we coordinate. I work with brokers that will coordinate events for them. When we had the Florida show, my clients went for a VIP event. So I only invited 2 of them to that VIP event, but they get that extra exposure and they get that feeling of, wait, let's get the full service of Florida. You're coming for your boats, then you go in there. You're coming for you're into art. We invite them to our Basel. They get the experience within us, so we get them to experience it with us. So I just happen to have the passion for a few different things, and my husband is in the car business. So I was in Naples for the car event, and a few of his friends that live in there, we saw them there, and I'm working very closely with another realtor in Naples, and I'm sending clients as well. So it's still Florida. I'm just not there every day, but I partner with people strategically in different areas as well.
Do you have someone
Wow.
doing this geofencing that's on your team, or is it someone who's a third party who's doing that for you?
Third party, fourth party, fifth party. There's quite a bit of people. Different systems in Canada. There is a person that is completely different than the one in here. And I'm still testing and trying to see what works better. Definitely still social media, it's right up there. Some people want to see those postcards. Some people, it depends on the clientele and depends on where they are. Some people are just not even looking at Facebook. Some are looking at TikTok. So we kind of have to go across the board, the geofencing, different companies in different areas.
How do you determine how you budget that?
It is one of those things that I definitely pay close attention to pricing and to what it is. When it comes to promoting new developments, it's very difficult to say, okay, wait, I'm going to only spend X. So there's quite a bit of money that is spent on exposure in Canada, but it will pay off in the long run. It's one of new developments is one of those things that you don't close a new development tomorrow. We have the well in Bay Harbor that is actually closing in September. So that is a project that right now we're focusing very hard on, and that's the one that I traveled to Canada. So that is very, very strong. But tomorrow I'm doing a presentation at Mr. C in Palm Beach. And that is, again, another one of those projects that Palm Beach is on fire. Palm Beach is coming, and it's coming very hard. And we are focusing in Palm Beach as well. Very strong. And Canadian.
What advice do you have for real estate realtors who are working with the Canadian buyers or sellers in the U.S.? I mean, are they just like Americans, or is there something we really need to know?
They're more conservative. They definitely want to know. They will try to find out who you are and what you're doing. They're more cautious than they're not just going to buy. They do research. They do require the comps. And I think that it is very important for anybody that is helping clients with new developments to know who the developers are. A lot of people are looking at new development, but be careful. It's just you need to know that the projects are going to be completed, that the projects have some sort of substance. There's projects that you walk in there and the quality is not as good. So, that's one of the things that I truly believe, that if people are trying to work with Canadians, definitely learn first. Know your product. And for the Canadians that are coming directly, they really need to work with someone, somebody else, somebody that knows about the product. Otherwise, mistakes can be made as well. So very important. Definitely do your research first.
I've been an admirer for a long time, but I'm watching Roberto leaning in on this and asking you very specific questions because I'm watching him and he's realizing you're not a team. You're a force of nature all by yourself. And he's wondering, as an individual superstar agent in New York, where do you get all this energy and can you really do it all by yourself? Right, right, right.
I'm
We're
not by
both wondering.
myself. Let's just make sure that you guys know I'm not by myself. I
Okay.
have a powerhouse behind me. I have a lot of people, but I do it more with marketing. So I have marketing teams. I have different people behind me that are definitely happy with me for 8 years or more. So even my photographer is the same photographer for 8 years. So when I trust, I definitely trust. It's difficult to get people, but I do have people that work with me, so I'm not on my own. Just definitely a powerhouse behind me. And in Canada, I'm very blessed that I know very, very, very strong realtors in Canada as well that run powerhouses on their own. So it's a whole group. It's a whole big effort.
So we got a few minutes to go. Let's talk about the future. Canada's been in the news a lot. There's a lot of anxiety, in America and, about our relationship with Canada, Mexico, everywhere. But tell us about the Canadian perspective and our Canadian, and where do you see the future going? Do you see the Canadians as a result of some of this anxiety pulling back, or is this just a tempest in a teapot? And they're like, we've been dealing with politics for 100 with the politics of the United States for 100 years, no big deal.
It really depends on where people are coming from. Again, at the end of the day, Florida is Florida, and they want the sunshine. They want to come here. So yes, it may be a temporary thing where you're hearing some conversations here and there, but at the end of the day, people have always been happy coming here. They love Florida. Their friends are here. Their investments are here. They're coming for golf. They're coming to lie down in the beach. They are just coming as a vacation. So, as much as all this is happening around us, Canadians are coming and they own here and they're happy here. There's a lot of them.
So it doesn't really affect your clients' lives that timber prices are doing this and oil's doing that. They're saying, I want to be in Florida and it's a $300 direct flight and I'm going to evaluate the golf opportunities and the healthcare and the weather and the bright line and the schools and all of that other stuff is really not going to be a factor. Is that what I hear you saying?
Well, I mean, I'm not saying that it fully won't be affected. There is some people that certainly will be a little bit more reserved, but there is already people from Canada that own businesses here that have already been working here. They're just adjusting to whatever else is changing. But as a vacation home, as an investment, they have been Canadians here for a long time. And they're not going to not come because of the changes. They're already here. They're already coming. Their friends are here, just like people from New York are coming to Boca, and like it's just they're coming, they're here, they're here.
Have you considered replicating that formula in Peru or something like that? I mean, you're Peruana, so.
Soy peruana. Well, funny that he asks. Oh boy, John is going to fall off his chair. I have been doing podcasts in South America. I'm not doing them. I'm being invited. Definitely, it's in my radar. I do speak Spanish fluently. I have been invited to do presentations, and it's just a matter of switching that to the Spanish. And it's just the same thing. I'm definitely reaching out to South America, Colombia, Mexico. I am very well connected with Peru as well. So no, definitely it's happening. Just a little bit more quiet, but if you pay attention, some of my posts are in Spanish.
Roberto knows something about podcasting. You two would be a good team south of the border, I think.
Let's switch it to Spanish.
I like it. I like that idea.
No, definitely, it will be like there is definitely a lot of South Americans coming as well. Miami is a powerhouse on that, but for Lauderdale, we have a lot of South Americans as well.
So it's fair to say your prediction, your crystal ball is going to be a renewed interest or more of a focus on South and Central America? Yes.
That is already happening. We have a lot of South Americans here. They are powerhouse. There's a lot.
But you'll be flying down there and making your presentations for Mr. C's and the Paragon and the Well down there as well.
It's already in the books.
Awesome.
Yeah, but more of it is done virtually as well. So a lot of virtual. But no, I'm already planning. Presentations have been done in Spanish already, and I do have all the materials in Spanish. So I'm already working on that. And
My
Robert
last
is going,
question.
Robert is going, wow, let's do it in Spanish.
Sports and entertainment. It sounds like with such an international focus and international ability to market that no wonder you're in the sports and entertainment. Is it helpful that you all have a foot in so many different markets to help your sports and entertainment clients connect?
I think that it is something that when we are in the transactions is definitely helpful. I did get training by the PR team to make sure that when we get, that the New York Times for those interviews and different things, we do have training. And it is definitely helpful because we do get the calls and we do get, questions that we need to know what to say, what not to say. So it's definitely helpful. And my clients, when they see that, they just somehow feel also that it is important because they know that I have worked with some clients in the past. It's definitely helpful.
I think this has been great. Roberto, you want the last word before I?
No, I don't want the last word, but I'm impressed.
Gracias.
I want to thank Katia Reisler. You'll find her at Katia Reisler on Instagram. And this has been a tremendous show. You'll also find her at katiareisler.elliman.com and her 13 listings for sale in South Florida. I want to thank our sponsor, gracefarms.org. And that's the Engel team, robertocabrera.com. Love working with you, my brother in New York. And I know your head is racing after today's call on how to expand your footprint from New York to everywhere, right?
Yeah,
I know I am. I'm thinking I need to get my butt in gear and get busy. I need to be more like Katia.
Agreed.
Yeah, this has been awesome. Thank you, Katia.
Thank you so much.
Thank you so much. My pleasure.
All right, we're going to check back in with you in 6 months and ask you about south of the border.
I love that.
All right, it's
I
a
love
date.
that. Thank you
Bye.
so much. Bye, guys. Thank you.